Hi, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and today I'm going to tell you my 5 photography advice for March 2020. Let's start. Well, first tip, first advice, don't laugh please, because I said it before in other videos, and as always it's do as I say, not as I do, and the thing is simple. Do not erase pictures or video. Don't laugh, because last week I was reviewing, I don't remember which camera, and I go to make a take and I made a mistake. I stopped after 10 seconds and I decided to erase the file, so I erased the file. Yeah, but I erased the 26-minute file in Spanish, not the 10-second error file in French. So on my iPhone there was no way to get it back, so I had to record again. So I always say it, normally for very important thing I never do that, but don't erase anything, don't delete anything until you've downloaded the whole thing on your computer, and then you can delete. And this is important because sometimes it's not just because that picture was maybe good or that video was maybe good. No, it's just because you erase exactly the right thing and you cannot get it back. It's true that on SD card there is some software you can get back if there's a problem or if you erased it, that's true, but it's time consuming. It's a lot faster not to erase anything and then you do it afterwards. So this is my advice, very important advice, because I just had it myself 3 days ago. Advice number 2, tip number 2. Nowadays, normally we use several devices. I know that many people think that just have one camera, so they don't have that problem, but it's not true. We all use several things. We use your camera, you use also your mobile phone. So maybe you go out making some picture and then you say, oh, I'm going to make a picture with my mobile phone, and then after you decide to get everything together, and then it's not fitting in the right place. So it's important that you set the same time on all your devices. Obviously the same date, but the same time. Why? Because then it will organize itself. So if you go with friends also, they each have a camera and you decide to get the pictures all together afterwards, it's better to have them made at exactly the same time. So the tip is use your smartphone, because the exact time is set by the operator, and then you set your camera checking the exact time on your mobile phone. This is the best way to do it. Don't forget that in our cameras, well, there is a small battery in there, a hidden battery, and when you switch off your camera, this battery keeps the setup and keeps the time in there, but sometime after a few years or few months, the battery is not as good. So what may happen is that it's not exactly the right time and you thought it was on time, it is not. So every time you're going to do something important, check the time is right, set it again, and have all the devices at the right time, same time on every devices. Advice number 3. Many years ago, I think I was 16 years old, something like this, I read a book called The Surviving Manual of the US Army. And I learned one thing. In army medicine, normally when there are injured soldiers, they hurry to help people that have really light injuries. Why? And then they go for people with heavy wounds and well, heavily injured, but they stop with the people with injured that are not that problematic. Why? Because maybe you have a small cut in my finger, and if I don't look at it right now, it gets infected and my injury goes higher or more, it's more dangerous, I could die. And also because the sooner you get all these people ready to go back to fight, well, the more chance you have to win the war. So they always start with people with light injuries and finish with people who are seriously wounded. So in civil medicine is different. They really stop with people that are heavily wounded, and they finish with people with light things. Why? Because ethically people would not understand that someone who is dying of a heart attack goes after someone who has a small wound in his finger. And also in a hospital, maybe there are more people to look after you, or there are more people, the place is better disinfected, so maybe not that many people with light injuries will die. But at war, yeah, it may happen. So instead of saving, if you go first for the very heavily injured, maybe this guy would die and also 5 more. But if you just go with the light injured, just that guy who was badly injured will die. That sounds horrible, but that's the way it is. So on photography and everything, I always apply this technique. It means that if a client tells me I have to do like pictures of 100 products and 40 are with fabrics, another 40 are plastic and 10 are glass, I will start with the fabrics and the plastic because I don't have to fight against reflection. I don't have to light in a special difficult way not to have any reflection, all that. So if I started the other way around, by the glass products, maybe it would take me 1-2 days. It doesn't come out. It's not my case, but maybe your case or someone who doesn't know much. It spends a lot of time and it doesn't go the way he wants, or this, and after 2 days the client calls and says, "How are my products?" I say, "Well, I'm a bit delayed, all this." But actually you have not done anything yet. Why? Because you've been working on the hard thing and you could not work it out. So you should start with the easy thing. You start with the fabrics and the plastic, and then after 2 days the clients call you and say, "How are you doing?" "Well, fine, I almost finished. I just have the glass product to finish. I can already give you the plastic and the fabrics. I can send it." And the guy is happy. He can wait an extra 1 or 2 days for the glass one. And while you were working on the fabric and plastic, your mind has been thinking about how you could solve your reflection problem. Same thing if you do model photography. Start with the easy pose, the pose you really know, or the lighting scheme you really know. Work on this first. Don't start with a very difficult one, because maybe half an hour passes on, 1 hour, and then the model is tired, your client is tired and she doesn't want anymore, and you've came out with 2 pictures and maybe none. If you've worked with the easy way first, then when she's tired or when he's tired, then you say, "Okay, we can stop," but you already have enough pictures, maybe not as good as you wanted or had imagined, but you have the work, your work is done. So I think this is the best way to work. Organize yourself this way. Advice number 4, you are the boss. Very often you commit yourself to give some pictures to a client, to a friend or family or whatever, and they think they are the boss and they tell you what to do. No, you are the boss. So, for example, I don't like desaturated, partial desaturated pictures. Like you have everything in black and white and just the shoe of the girl in red. For me, that looks horrible. That's my opinion. Maybe you have different opinion, but I don't do that. I don't like it. So if I accept a client, the client says, "Can you do that?" "Yeah, okay, I do it." "I want that." "Okay, I do it." The result, what it is, that person is going to show this picture to his friend. Some people will think it's horrible, same as I do, but your client will never say, "That was my idea." He will say, "Yeah, Eric did it." And that person will think, "Well, we'll never contract Eric because that kind of picture is horrible." Or he will think, "Oh, that's great." And then you end up doing that kind of picture you don't like to do just because his friend have the same taste and they think you can do it or they want you to do it. So it's important, yeah, you are the boss. If a client tells, "I want this way," you say if you can do it, if you want to do it. But once you have accepted the deal, if he comes with new ideas and you feel they're not right, they're not good ideas, don't change. You are the boss. You say, "No, you're contracting me for that style, and this is the style I have. Don't ask me to do John's style. That's his style. Contract him." Because otherwise you will never have your own style, and then there's no point of contracting you because people don't know why they're contracting you. "What style do you have, Eric?" I don't know. What style do you want?" No, at the end you end up being a slave of your clients or friends or family. So it's important, you are the boss. Tip number 5, white balance. I don't know if you saw the video with about using a white sheet of paper. I explained several tips and one was using it for white balance. Well, not every time you can do a proper white balance using a white or gray card, and you put your camera in automatic. If it's stable, this is not really a problem. Your camera more or less will get the right white balance, and that's fine. But imagine you're doing some concert photography, and sometimes there is red light, blue light, green light, and your white balance sometimes will get the right color and sometimes it will not get the right color. It's going to go crazy. So obviously I speak if you work in RAW. So you're working in RAW with your RAW files, and then after in post-production you want to fix it. Just go nuts. So if you cannot do a proper white balance, anyway you should fix a white balance. The more logical is to fix it in Kelvin. You get your camera and get a Kelvin temperature that looks more or less the same as what you're seeing right now. Even if after the color changes all this, at least you know that on this picture the color balance were more or less okay, or almost okay, and you know that this white part of the battery or whatever, that was white. So after, when you go in post-production, it's easy to fix every picture of this concert. If you leave it in automatic white balance, it's going to go nuts. You will never know what was really right and all the time right or not, or this or that. And sometimes after the musician is in front of the battery and you don't know there what was white. If your camera doesn't let you fix the temperature in Kelvin, pick one of the presets. That can be daytime, light bulb or whatever, and pick the one that when you make your first picture you see it's more or less like reality. And then make all the series with this white balance setting. This is important. When you have unstable colors, try to fix a white balance manually, even if you cannot do it with your gray card. These were my 5 tips for March 2020. I hope you like them. If you think it may help anyone, please share them on social networks. Share the video on social networks. If you have not done yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a small button down here and also a small bell. If you click on the bell, you'll get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, you can leave a comment below or send me an email to info@ericgibaud.com. Below I also put links of my gear on Amazon, also links to other parts of my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Bye.